So good morning everyone. Let's see Nifty. So this is our daily Nifty chart. As we saw today, there has been some amount of gap up today as well, right? But we need to see whether we can sustain this gap up or not. Okay. So right. So some updates on Nifty. As we were tracking it yesterday as well, it is basically in that support zone, right, of that 9,700 and 9,750. Right. So there is quick amount of selling which has come in last 3 days, and the phase has also changed from 30 degree to 60 degree, right? Even today if you see, it has opened gap up, but there has been a quick selling which has come across. Okay, so some kind of triangle formation is already there in place. So if we just look from a broader point of view, a triangle has been formed, and then it will take some kind of breakout either on the downside or the upside of the triangle, right? Apart from that, let's go down and see on 5 minutes what's happening in Nifty. So as we had seen prior that yes, it opened gap up, but it couldn't sustain. There is quite amount of selling happening at every gap up level. Right now on this point, yesterday also it opened gap up, came all the way down, but it did not go below yesterday's close. Right, so it filled the gap, and then we saw a quick amount of reversals. Right, so reversals are there, but then the trading range for Nifty will be very small, as we had concluded yesterday as well. If you see the trading range, it opened gap up, could not go higher than yesterday's high, and on the low side it basically filled the gap, and it traded in this zone for quite a long time, right, the entire day. So today again it opens up. Ideally you can only be bullish in Nifty if it at least breaks yesterday's high. So till then, we cannot be bullish in Nifty any which ways, and it has opened gap up. So ideally, it might again undergo some amount of selling. So even on small scale, the trading range is very small. It's better to be away from Nifty or Bank Nifty from trading point of view. Now, if you see 30 minutes or even hourly chart, it just gives you a very clear picture as to what's happening on Nifty apart from the daily levels. Now, if you see on the hourly chart, yes, the gap up had happened and it had zoomed all the way high. It came back down and it has tested 9750 at least 3 times now. So it had a gap up opening at 9750, zoomed higher, and then it came all the way down. Right now, this was the first point where it came down. This was the second point. This was the third point, fourth point. So it's trying to test 9750 at every levels. Okay. So ideally 9750 is a very crucial level. If by any form during the expiry week it can be little volatile. So this week is currently short, right? So we have holiday on Friday. So Thursday is the last trading day, and it's an expiry of Bank Nifty, weekly Bank Nifty as well. So if it breaks 9750, the first target would be 9700, and if it bounces back and retest this 9750, so this support would now become resistance if it goes below 9750. So ideally, if it goes below 9750 for this expiry, right, next week, we can see a good amount of downside on Nifty. So 9650 cannot be ruled out. So 100 points down, or maybe even 9,560 or 9,600, these levels can easily be obtained, right, in the expiry week itself. And as per our phase manners, it is 30 degree, 60 degree, and if it goes below 9700, a good fall off can take place and it will enter into that 90-degree zone. So if it enters in that 90-degree zone, okay, how to be sure? We need to keep looking out for 9700. Right? We need to see whether it breaches 9700. If it breaches, what it does exactly at 9700. Right? But a good downside cannot be ruled out. That is what can be there in this expiry month itself. Now that's Nifty. Let's go back and see what's on the Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty seems to be opening up and trying to pull it higher. So it is little bit on the bullish side, and we had seen Bank Nifty also forming a support in these zones of 23,800, right? So on daily front, the same logic that we are working out with, the important level is 23,800, right? And it did test 24,000 and 23,800, and it basically reversed from those places. Okay, so there is a good amount of support around 23,800. So that is the first support, and this is the second support which is there, and a quick reversal can be seen. Now, daily chart, yes, it is trading in the support zone, but it's very clear if it goes below 23,800, right? A sell off in Bank Nifty cannot be ruled out. So for this expiry, a good amount of selling can take place in the next week itself. So we need to be cautious of these levels which we have pinned out, 9,700 for Nifty and 23,800 for Bank Nifty. Right, now let's go inside 5-minute chart or 30 minutes chart, whether we can see a good amount of pattern formation taking place in Nifty or Bank Nifty. Now in case of Bank Nifty, it is little bit different from Nifty, because if you see, yesterday there was a complete red bar, and then it followed by a good amount of buying from the lows. Then it again came down, and at the end it closed higher, right? So there has been good amount of buying taking place at 23,850 levels, 23,900 levels. So these are good amount of support for Bank Nifty. So if we are seeing Bank Nifty going down, it needs to take out these supports where we have seen good amount of buying taking place, right? But even today, what happened? It opens up, right, and it tries to go higher. Important is 24,200, whether it reaches above that or not. So on Bank Nifty front, yes, it opened high, and it is ruling out the downward side for Bank Nifty at least. But Nifty is not in the bullish zone, right? Bank Nifty still seems to be more bullish compared to Nifty, and the setup is very much good, because here, if you see, uh, it opens up, goes higher, tries to breach yesterday's high, which is not in the case of Nifty, right? It tries to go high and then comes back down and pulls it higher. So yes, Bank Nifty can find a good upside of this range 24,200 and 24,250. So for intraday level, we can basically look out Bank Nifty going around 24,200 and 24,250 levels. Right. So this is possible in Bank Nifty, because this is your mini resistance which is there, and if it reaches straight away target for Bank Nifty for intraday can be roughly around 24,250 levels, right? And it will find some amount of resistance. So seeing the setup of Bank Nifty versus Nifty, Bank Nifty seems to be more resilient on the downside. Good amount of buying you can see has happened at every point whenever lows have been formed, right, for Bank Nifty. So here, yes, we agree that to some extent Bank Nifty is on the positive side, but we need to see, there is an expiry coming up, weekly expiry of Bank Nifty, so it might stretch higher and then it may reverse down fast. So we need to keep an eye on the upside levels as well for Bank Nifty. Now let's go and see on the daily chart. Is there any resistance on the upside? As yesterday, we had also placed some phases for Bank Nifty as well. So let's put it again. If I just try to build all the highs over here, it goes somewhere over here, which is around 30 degree, 40 degree zone. So the downwardness or the downtrend of Bank Nifty is basically seen around 30 degree. The point was, yes, if it goes further down, right, something like this, then the phase would change from 30 degree to 60 degree or 50 degree. But today it basically tries to jump up, okay, and tries to go higher. But if it finds some resistance and reverses back, then it can enter into this 60-degree zone. But till now, Bank Nifty seems to be much better compared to Nifty. Going forward, we'll see whether on intraday basis it is able to reach this 24,250 level zone, right? The bigger level, obviously, we have already discussed 24,500 is the biggest level if you want to see Bank Nifty in the bullish zone. So there is no bullishness in Bank Nifty till it reaches 24,500. So there is good amount of downside is easily possible in the expiry week. This is what I am trying to sense because somewhere it needs to go either on the downside or the upside. Now for the entire month, large amount of selling has taken place. So if we see the month started somewhere over here, okay, this expiry and entirely 1,000 points downside has taken place in Bank Nifty. Even in Nifty, quite amount of selling has taken place. So ideally, this week can become crucial. This and next week towards the expiry, and the important level to watch out for Bank Nifty is 23,800. So if 23,800 is taken off straight away, 23,200, 200 or 23 levels are easily likely in Bank Nifty, right? So it is possible in last week of expiry they can pull it down, but we are very clear if it comes down fast in the supporting zone, a quick reversal will be seen, right? So let us keep an eye on Nifty and Bank Nifty. The important level for Bank Nifty is 23,800. Important level for Nifty is 9,700, right? But for us, it is basically a no trading zone. It's better to be away and keep looking at both the levels. If these levels breach, then we would like to enter a trade, right? Not before that. On intraday basis, yes, you can trade,